Hello, my loves, and welcome to this message. It's good to see you again, or if you're new here, it's good to welcome you in this space. Just a little heads up, my readings are usually a bit of a journey, maybe sometimes a bit unusual. So, get ready to dive deep and to explore. With that being said, let's get started right away and see what we can bring through today. All right. So right off the bat, I want to say that I did feel quite a restless energy when preparing to tune in here. And actually, right away, I want to get up and get something to drink. So it feels like there is a bit of a, like I say, like a restless energy. It's hard to sit down to do something. Actually, I did the intro today. I did it like five times before I actually was kind of, well, yeah, okay, that's good enough. There's a bit of not being satisfied with anything you do. And there are a lot of things you want to do. I do get especially something about like creative things, like, I get something about pottery, something with flowers, maybe gardening, or like being like a florist. Maybe you like to make bouquets, stuff like that. Something about woodworking as well. Working with your hand. Okay, yeah, you like to work with your hands. So I get a lot from anything from being like an artist to like more like craft stuff, or I see someone like digging into soil. Like I said, gardening, working with plants, animals. Yeah, the hands seem to be significant in all of this. So maybe that's something that you don't really get to do a lot lately, or you do not seem to find I wanted to say the time and space, but then I was corrected and it's like the right head space. Which is funny, right? Do we really need to be in the right headspace to do something with our hands? So that's a riddle for you. Do we need to be in the right headspace to do something with our hands? That's a good question. Or maybe working with our hands would actually bring us into the right headspace. Interesting. Okay, let's start with a few tarot cards and then let's see where we go from there. So we have the Seven of Wands and the Champion of Vessels, which is the Knight of Cups in this deck. Okay, so there's something that we think like external issues that keep us from doing what we actually want to do. But with the Seven of Wands, it's it's always an energy of like we think that something in the outside is actually blocking us from doing what we want to do, but what is really happening is more of like it's an internal process. So we actually need to stop and look inside and see what's going on there and why we feel like we cannot proceed with whatever we want to do. Instead of like blaming the outside world for it. I do get something about a break here. So, okay, yeah, like you were asked to actually take a break, to just like take a rest, sit by the river. Maybe you have like a nice lunch packed into your backpack here and take the time to actually like look inside to see what's going on. Like, why do you feel like you don't have the time or space to do what you want to do? And at the same time, yeah, like what's going on? Like, I'm being drawn back to this restless energy, to this. I see all those birds in the background here, like they're all moving towards something, like they're all flying to wherever they have to go. But this bird here is choosing to take a rest, to just sit here and contemplate. Okay, so something is not really in balance. Okay, so that's interesting. The Hierophant. Okay, so the first thing I'm getting from this is I can't read this card right now. I cannot understand the meaning of this card before I need a second one. Like, I need to balance it out. So there seems to be like a very heavy emphasis on emotion, simply because this is off the side, like of the cups. The card is lying on this side. So there are emotions happening, but it's like, this is like the book is closed, like you can't open it. Like I see this, it's like you shall not pass. You can't read the emotions, right? Okay, so you're given emotions, but you don't interpret them right because you're missing information. And this causes like the imbalance. And again, like this is on the bottom of the deck. It's the Two of Swords in reverse. And I get this like you shall not pass energy, but there's something about a two-edged sword. All right. Can we get that second card, that the one that we need for the information? Five of Coins. Okay, so there is some fear of lack. There's some scarcity here. I'm noticing myself like rearranging the cards here, fidgeting about them, like so that they're like kind of in order. There's something about like making sure that everything is right, set up right. Again, like there's this belief of something external has to be like perfectly right. I need to set up the space perfectly right or else. It seems to be like a limiting belief that like in order to do the thing that I want to do, I need this, like everything needs to be perfect. Or otherwise I can't do the thing. And yeah, again, with this like 7 of Wands, that is related to the 5 of Coins here. Like this is a limiting belief that the outside has to line up in order for me to come into a mind space. So they're kind of like, it's a variation on the word headspace, but now it's called mind space. So there's like it's making the transition from the body, from like fixing it or fixating on like the physical and bringing it into the mind. So it's about like, can you change your mindset around it? And now those swords, they are speaking to me about like almost like hanging over it, like a Damocles sword. But it's not just one, it's two. So again, this thing about like it needs to be balanced. Like there are like two polarities that need to be balanced, and speaking to me about like feminine and masculine energy. So that was what I got in the like initially when I sat down to do the reading, and I got this like impatient, like restless energy. It very much felt to me like an overly active masculine energy that is like a little bit pushy and doesn't really take the time to rest and take the break in order to just like find a time to look inside. And also with the 6 of Coins, which is very much like, even that reminds me of the yin yang symbols. So there's something about the balancing of the different different energy polarities. Bottom of the deck, the Tower. That's kind of like an underlying energy. I hear the palace you build, like castles in the sky. You're building castles in the sky. I'm not sure if this is like a real tower. It doesn't feel to me like a quote unquote real tower, in a sense of like that something's about to crumble in your life. Like it's more like the fear of the castles you build, the castles in the sky you build, that they will crumble. So if I don't start at all, then I cannot be disappointed. Okay, what if I don't have it in me? It's very straightforward, and it's like the message, which is unusual to come through like that. And now the proclaimer is also speaking about me, about it's the Hierophant in like the traditional tarot, and those rays that are like coming from this book. It's giving me like the vibe of overly worshipping something, like putting something or maybe someone on a pedestal. Maybe even because earlier you said like this is like the emotions, so maybe you're placing a bit too much of a value on emotions, again, like how you feel, the way you're feeling about something. So you have this idea of, well, only if I feel like doing something, I can actually do it. Again, like you need to be in the right headspace to do it. But sometimes it's just about doing the thing. Sometimes it's just about getting started. And the reason why you keep telling yourself that you need to be in the right headspace to do something is actually a way to quote unquote self-sabotage. Because like, again, like if you don't get started, you cannot be disappointed, and you can keep on dreaming about those castles in the sky that you were building. So as long as the thing doesn't get real, there's no danger, no risk of, again, like being disappointed. Under the tower was the Three of Vessels, which is very much a card about community. But I find it so interesting because in this deck, it speaks so much about creativity for me with the paint here and the three different colors. Befriending, oh, okay. Befriending our own cycles of creation. And the question is like, because creativity doesn't always flow in a linear way. Creativity is very much cyclical. It has its own seasons, it has its own rhythm. And it's really about building a relationship with your own creativity and with your own creative processes, and not to expect from yourself to adhere to a certain schedule, or to so it's a two-edged sword, bringing me back to this Two of Swords card. It's a two-edged sword because on the one hand, it's not about following rigid schedules, but on the other hand, you do need a bit of like a structure or a schedule in order to bring things into existence. Because if you're only following your emotions, it won't get you anywhere. because you will just be like flip-flopping between all kinds of different, like, oh, I don't feel like it right now, and then I'd rather do this over here. And this is not how you progress with anything, right? But if you try to follow like rigid schedules, it also won't help you with your creative process, because it's just burning you out, and you get frustrated because you try to push yourself into like creating something when you don't feel like creating it. Like this is especially detrimental when you're doing something like, I don't know, I had so many experiences where I was like, because in school, I don't know why I'm sharing this, but well, in school I had in like when it was towards high school graduation, and like in Germany, we had to like pick two subjects that are like our main focus. And so one of my main focuses was art, and this actually completely destroyed my relationship that I had with art, because I was suddenly forced to create art, not because I like to do it, but because I had to force it into a structure like school, where I was graded on my creations, and I had to create within certain deadlines. Also, when we were writing tests, like I had to create a piece of art within a few hours, while being like in this testing situation. So that created for me this extreme imbalance in how I experienced art, and how I like, of course, like there was a lot of pressure, and then there were like those expectations and the need to be good at it. So in order to get good grades and things like that. So this all played into it, but yeah, it really destroyed my relationship with art. And it took me, I'm not kidding, like it took me about 15 years to come back to it. And I tried to come back to it several times, and it never really worked. There was so much damage there, and it really, really took me a long time. And it's just lately that I came back into reconnecting with art and the joy of creating paintings and drawings. And I really have, and I still do. I had to completely redefine my relationship with art and my creating process. Similar thing with writing, still working on that. So yeah, it's a tricky thing. And you know, the other thing is like, if you want to get better, if you want to progress, if you want to get into some kind of a rhythm, or like a routine with like creating on a regular basis, you cannot just follow your motivation. You also need to establish maybe habits that will help you to create on a regular basis. It's like, yeah, really, like it brings me back to this Three of Vessels card. It's about relationship. If you have friends, maybe you don't always like feel like seeing them, but then because you like agreed to a meeting, and you maybe scheduled it like 2 weeks ago, and yeah, I know sometimes we just just cancel last minute. Yeah, I'm looking at you, my dear introverts. I know it all too well. But I guess you probably also know the phenomenon that you don't feel like seeing your friends, but then maybe you choose to do, like to do get out and just say like, okay, just don't. It doesn't have to be long. I can meet them for a cup of coffee, and then, yeah, I'll see how it is, and then it's just like 4 hours later, and you're having a great time. That can happen. And so that's the same thing with art, for example, writing or whatever. Like the thing is you want to do. I mean, it was more about like working with your hands. Maybe just start with something like something easy to work with your hands, and don't expect it to be like phenomenal. Don't expect it to be like anything but just what it is, and just for the purpose of getting into drawing, or not drawing, like getting into creating something at all. It's funny because usually I'm using my hands a lot, but I just realized that I was sitting on my hands. Like I was. And I'm drawn to the trunk of that elephant. And I had this like silly thought in my head. It's very interesting that they don't have hands, but they use a trunk. What's that about? So there's a lot of sensitivity in it. They use it for exploration as well. Like, I mean, everybody has seen those videos where they maybe just like, if they're connecting with a human, they're using their trunk in order to explore the face of that person. So it's very sensitive. Okay, so there's a lot of sensitivity in your hands. And I just heard the question, so what is your relationship to your hands? And I thought, like, well, that's a weird question to ask. And then I was guided to the trunk. So it's not that weird, is it? What is your relationship with your hand? Thinking about like how sensitive they are, how how content do you feel on like exploring with your hands? It can be a very sensitive thing, like a very sensual thing even. Like touching your own skin or touching another person's skin, touching like any kind of surface. So there's something in there about your hands. Maybe something happened to your hands. Oh, wow. Okay. So now I'm like, I felt like caressing this area. So I was drawn to this area. And I thought about, that got dark really quick. I thought, for one, about Assisi, the saint who had the marks in his hands. I can't remember his full name right now. Francis of Assisi. And he got those marks in his hands. And they were like signs of that he was chosen by God. And it's like the sign from the where Jesus got crucified. That's the word, crucified. So your hands are marked. I hear burned one too many times. Wow. Like there's a really heavy energy here. Like I say, that turned pretty deep and dark real quick. Wow, okay. So it seems like there's okay, can I get some guidance here, please? All right, so these two here, like these two coins, they remind me of those marks. Yeah, right. And Francis of Assisi, he was one of those beggar monks. So he decided to live in poverty because he thought that that was the real way to connect with God. And it's kind of interesting because I'm in Tuscany right now, and the church of Assisi is not too far from here. And it's like, if you've ever been there or seen maybe pictures of it, if not, like just look it up. It's not the church of a beggar monk. It really is not. So again, something about the imbalance of energies. Like if you go too much in one direction, like choosing poverty, choosing scarcity for, like, because you think like that's the, like it's a very radical thing to do. And then it's kind of almost cynical that in the name of this man who chose to live in poverty, there was this huge church erected that is very, it's really huge. It's huge. Again, something about pedestals. I heard something about grandiosity. And the castles in the sky. So the castle, like this church, this huge church, and creating statues that we can worship, like saints. And that was not his intention, right? It wasn't the intention of Francis of Assisi to become a saint and to be worshipped. Like he tried to live a life that was true to God, like the way he saw it. Okay, there are all kinds of weird connections coming now, because the Proclaimer is the Hierophant, which can also be seen as the Pope in some tarot decks. And the last Pope was Francis, and that was actually pretty much a revolutionary thing, because he chose, like he was the first, so he chose deliberately a name of a monk who was a beggar while he was the Pope. And I do remember when he announced, or when they announced his name, I was like, wow, that's huge. He's doing that. It felt very significant to me in that moment. That went on a really weird tangent here. I do feel like I need some clarification, please. With that, like, where are we? I got a bit lost here. I'm contemplating. Told you my readings are a journey. Now we're journeying through Tuscany, Italy, and history. Okay, can you please give me a bit of a back to the tarot? We're sticking with the tarot today. Oops. And we get the Devil and the Crown of Coins reversed. So the Devil is immediately speaking to me about a fear. It's kind of like it's the fear of temptation. Again, like this monk that chose to be a beggar because he believed that that was the right way to go about it. And so that can happen, right? If like the masculine energy is showing up in a bit of a distorted way, it can tend to overdo it with the minimalism, with the scarcity aspect. And with the Crown of Coins here in reverse is, so this is actually holding you back from achieving what you want to achieve. And not just that, but you want to bring something into the world. So by choosing to, I hear, to deprive yourself from things that you think are quote unquote evil, really withholding pleasure. Like thinking you need to follow this strict routine or strict it keeps pushing into my head the word diet. So there's something about like a strict diet that you're holding. Exercise, again, like living like a monk. Like the expression, like living like a monk. Maybe even like I want to say abundance, but that's the exact opposite pretty much. Abstinence, like someone who's living abstinent from anything. And just, so there is like a bit of a warning coming through that if you're like depriving yourself of those things, they are showing up in other ways. It's finding their way. They're always finding their way. And if you don't let them out like consciously, they'll just, I hear again the word self-sabotage. And it will cause you to behave in imbalanced ways. Okay, yeah, well, I just heard it's not the crown's fault that humans cannot handle them, or the jewels' fault that humans cannot handle them. So it's not that the thing itself is evil. Like it's not money that's evil. It's not the food that is evil. It's not whatever it is, like you're trying to like deprive yourself from, maybe even like subconsciously, you're not even aware of it. It's not the thing itself that is the problem, but it's the question is like, can you handle it in a balanced way? And the thing is, like, when the masculine is like imbalanced, so is the feminine, and then it can just like flip-flop between overdoing it with one thing and then like going back to withholding completely, going back to overdoing it. So it's like I say, it's like this imbalanced thing. And now that brings me back to the restlessness I felt in the beginning. It's and the coming back to the resting. So you need to rest from time to time in order to continue with whatever you want to do, in order to gain the energy. So the restlessness you're feeling is really like showing you the way, like it's giving you clues about that there is an imbalance with that masculine energy. And I feel like I'm running in circles now, but I'm just like repeating what I've already said. Okay, can we get one last card with that? And then, ooh, first and the last card. Okay. Thinker and soulmates in reversed. And I want to turn them in the right way. This card is actually speaking to me about, again, like the relationship you have with your creativity. Like, how can you be your soulmate? Like, how can you, like, your creations be your soulmate? And this is the key you need. And the thinker, like for one, it's because it came out in reverse. So it's speaking to me about like this overthinking energy, like too much mental energy, too much, again, masculine energy. But when I turned it, it spoke to me about taking a pause to contemplate. And there's a difference between contemplating and thinking, really. I'm overthinking. But contemplation is something that is like in a like more open state. It's not about I'm thinking about things that I already think I know the answer to, but it's more like, okay, I'm being open and I'm letting my thoughts flow and just see what emerges. And this is like a way more open, more fluid process. So this is speaking to me about like how you can implement the like a healthy masculine energy into your life. Also with those clouds, I'm reminded of, you know, when you meditate and they always say like you should just like let your thoughts pass by like clouds. Same goes for emotions. So if you feel like you want to do something and then you feel like resistance, can you look at them like clouds that are just passing by? And it's not really, you know, earlier I wanted to create a reading and I wanted to sit outside, and then I saw that like there were really heavy and dark clouds in the sky, and for a moment I hesitated and thought, well, maybe it's going to rain, maybe I shouldn't do it. But then I just sat down anyways under the tree and it was fine. It was fine. So sometimes we see those clouds and then we think, oh, I can't do that thing because of that heavy cloud up there, and it never rains and we could have done it. So it's again like about just do the thing and don't let yourself be held back by like those emotions or thoughts that are telling you that you can't do it for the reasons we talked about. And it's really, again, the question, like, how can I become, or how can I let the things in my life that are important to me become my soulmate? And it's like, now it's speaking to me, it's not just about creativity. It is actually about life. How can my life be my soulmate? How can my life be my soulmate? And this is like, it's tying in with another reading that, like the reading that I recorded earlier. I guess I'm probably going to, like, this one is for Wednesday, yeah. So that one was for Thursday. So it's the one that comes out tomorrow. So, yeah. It feels related. It feels related. All right. That's it. That's it. And I just got confirmation. I saw a sign, and that was confirmation that yes, they are related. And if you resonate with this reading, you should go and watch the one that is coming like after this one, coming out after this one. And it's about that the wind is going to pick up and things are going to move. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for coming with me on this beautiful journey. And I hope it resonated and it helped you. I would love to hear from you. Also, if you choose to subscribe or give the video a thumbs up, I appreciate it very much. It helps my channel grow and other people find those messages as well. Yeah, and so I'll leave it at that. I wish you the best with this, and I would love for you to tune in with my next reading. And until then, I love you very much and take care. Bye.